It begins with the taste of pennies and static, a coppery electric tang at the back of my throat that I've come to associate with waking up on the floor. Tonight, it's the cold, unforgiving tile of the kitchen. The grout lines press a grid-like pattern into my cheek. I don't remember coming down here. I never do. My bed is upstairs, warm and empty, a silent accusation in the dark. I peel my face from the floor, my neck screaming in protest. A single, sluggish drop of blood drips from my nose and spatters on the pristine white tile, a tiny crimson star in a sterile galaxy. I wipe it away with the back of my hand, the motion tired, practiced. This is the third time this month. The first time, it was the living room rug, my face buried in the shag carpet like a fallen soldier. The second, it was the hallway, my body positioned so perfectly parallel to the walls I might have been placed there with a ruler. Each time, the same metallic taste, the same dull ache behind my eyes, and the same gaping, ragged hole in my memory where the last few hours should be. My doctor, a man whose patience is as thin as his hair, called it a textbook case of nocturnal epilepsy, or perhaps stress-induced somnambulism. He'd given me pamphlets, prescriptions for pills that made my days feel as foggy as my nights, and a patronizing pat on the shoulder. But I knew it was something else. You don't get these kinds of bruises from sleepwalking. I run my fingers over my ribs, tracing the faint, almost invisible patterns under my skin. They're not the random, blotchy messes you get from bumping into a coffee table. They are organized, symmetrical. 3 small, perfectly spaced circles like the indentations of a strange, 3-fingered grip. They fade after a day or two, only to be replaced by a new set in a different location. My own private, painful constellation. I push myself to my feet, my joints popping in the oppressive silence of the house. The only sound is the low, incessant hum. It's been my unwanted companion for months now. A sound so low and pervasive it feels less like a noise and more like a pressure, a vibration in my bones. It's the sound of a million cicadas singing a death dirge from a mile away. The buzz of a high-voltage power line running directly through my skull. At first I thought it was tinnitus, another symptom for my doctor to dismiss. I bought a white noise machine then too. I played thunderstorm sounds, crashing waves, droning whale songs, anything to drown it out. But the hum is always there, lurking beneath the surface, a constant chilling reminder that something is fundamentally wrong. I glance at the oven clock. 3:33 a.m. It's always around this time. The witching hour, they call it. I wonder what kind of witches use my body for a crash test dummy. I stumble back up the stairs, each step a testament to a weariness that sleep can't cure. I don't even bother checking the locks anymore. I know they're all bolted. The windows are sealed. The security system is on. Whatever is doing this to me doesn't use doors. The next morning, the sun does little to burn away the chill. I work from home, a graphic designer tethered to a glowing screen, a job that once felt like freedom, but now feels like a cage. The isolation gnaws at me. The silence of the house amplifies the hum. Time has become slippery. I'll be deep in a project, tweaking the kerning on a font, and I'll glance at the clock on my monitor. 2:17 p.m. I'll feel a strange, momentary dizziness, like the feeling you get when an elevator drops too fast. A flicker. I'll look back at the clock. 4:58 p.m. 3 hours gone, vanished into the same void that swallows my nights. My project files show no work done in that time. The mouse hasn't moved. I'm just sitting there, a statue in a silent house, while the world spins on without me. It's happening more and more. Little rips in the fabric of my day. I try to tell my girlfriend, Maya, but the words turn to ash in my mouth. How do you explain that you're losing your own life in hourly chunks? How do you describe a bruise shaped like a star system? She sees the exhaustion in my eyes, the way I flinch at sudden noises. She blames my job, my lack of sleep. "You need a vacation, Alex," she says, her voice a soft, soothing balm that does nothing to heal the wound. "Just a week away from all this. We'll go to the coast. No screens, no deadlines." I agree, but we both know it won't help. You can't take a vacation from your own mind, or from whatever has taken up residence within it. Tonight, she's staying over. Her presence is a fragile shield against the encroaching dread. We cook dinner, watch a movie, the mundane rituals of a normal couple. But the hum is still there, a third wheel on our date. I can see the flicker of the fluorescent kitchen light reflected in her eyes, and for a terrifying second, it strosses in time with the pulsing in my skull. I must have flinched because she puts her hand on my arm. "You okay?" "You look like you've seen a ghost." I force a smile. "Just tired." It's my mantra, my excuse for everything. The lie is so worn out, it's almost transparent. Later, we're in bed. The darkness a thick, suffocating blanket. Maya is asleep, her breathing soft and even. I'm wide awake, staring at the ceiling, listening. The hum is louder tonight. It's building, like the prelude to a storm inside my head. I feel a strange pressure building behind my eyes, a familiar precursor to the lost time. My heart begins to hammer against my ribs, a frantic drumbeat against the deep, resonant hum. No, not tonight. Not with her here. I squeeze my eyes shut, concentrating on the feel of the sheets, the scent of her hair, anything to anchor me to reality. The pressure intensifies. My vision whites out for a second, and then a sound. Not the hum. Something new. A high-pitched chittering sound, like ice cracking under immense pressure, coming from outside the window. Every muscle in my body tenses. I slowly, silently turn my head. Through a gap in the curtains, I see it. The night sky is a starless, inky black. But 3 points of light burn with an intensity that defies explanation. They're not stars. They're not planes. They hang there, impossibly still, arranged in a perfect scalene triangle. As I watch, a beam of what looks like liquid darkness and anti-light connects the 3 points, solidifying the shape. There is no sound, but I can feel it. A deep, gut-wrenching vibration that resonates with the hum in my head. The triangular craft tilts, slowly, deliberately. A single, piercingly bright white light erupts from its center, sweeping across the suburban landscape below. It illuminates the rooftops, the trees, the manicured lawns, all in a sterile, silent wash. It's a searchlight, and it's looking for something. It's looking for me. The beam sweeps closer, and I feel a primal animal terror seize me. I want to scream, to wake Maya, to run, but I am frozen, pinned to the bed by a force I cannot comprehend. The beam hits the house next door, and for a fraction of a second, the entire building becomes translucent, like an X-ray. I can see the furniture, the wiring in the walls, the sleeping family in their beds, all rendered in ghostly shades of blue and white. Then the light hits our house. The room explodes in white. It's not a light you see, but a light you feel, a pressure that pushes you down, a heat that doesn't burn but sterilizes. The hum in my head shrieks, rising in pitch until it's a single deafening note of pure agony. I can feel Maya stirring beside me, a muffled groan escaping her lips. The light is everywhere, inside and out. It's erasing the world. And then, just as suddenly as it began, it's gone. The room is plunged back into darkness. The silence that follows is more terrifying than the noise. My ears are ringing. My eyes ache. I'm trembling so violently the whole bed is shaking. "Alec, what was that?" Maya's voice is a raw, terrified whisper in the dark. She saw it. She saw it too. I'm not crazy. The validation I've craved for months is here, but it brings no comfort, only a shared, suffocating terror. I turn to her, and in the faint moonlight filtering through the window, I see my own horror reflected in her wide, tear-filled eyes. We cling to each other, 2 shipwreck survivors on a raft of sheets, as the silence of the house presses in around us. The hum is gone. For the first time in months, there is only silence, and it's the most terrifying sound I've ever heard. The days that follow are shrouded in a thick fog of fear. Maya believes me now, but her belief is a fragile, terrifying thing. She looks at me differently, as if I'm a carrier of some strange cosmic plague. She looks at the sky with a new, fearful reverence. She jumps at every flicker of the lights, every unexplained noise. The shared trauma that I thought would bring us closer has instead wedged a chasm of unspoken dread between us. We don't talk about what we saw. We can't. The words don't exist to describe the sheer alien wrongness of it. How do you say, "I think a godlike machine of unknown origin was searching for me last night"? So we exist in a state of quiet, polite panic, going through the motions of our lives while a monstrous reality gnaws at the edges of our perception. For me, the silence is a torment. The hum is gone, but its absence has left a void, a phantom limb I can still feel. The nights are the worst. Sleep offers no escape, only a different kind of horror. My dreams are of impossible geometries, of vast cold spaces between dying stars. I see colossal structures drifting in the void, cities built on scales that would make mountains weep. I see figures, tall and impossibly thin, their limbs bending at angles that make my own bones ache in sympathy. They have no faces, only smooth, pale masks of skin. But I can feel their gaze, ancient and indifferent, like a scientist peering at a microbe. I wake up gasping for air, the sheets soaked in a cold sweat, the phantom smell of ozone in my nostrils. One night, it happens again. The hum returns. It starts faintly, a mere whisper at the edge of hearing, but it grows steadily, a monstrous crescendo that makes the very air in the room feel thick and heavy. I'm instantly awake, my body rigid with dread. Maya is still asleep, oblivious. The hum is just for me. It's a summons. I feel an overwhelming, irresistible compulsion to get out of bed. It's not my own will. My body moves with a puppet's grace, my limbs disconnected from my conscious mind. I walk to the living room window, the one that overlooks the quiet, sleeping street. The hum is deafening now, a physical presence that vibrates through the floorboards, through the soles of my feet, into the marrow of my bones. Outside, the world is bathed in an eerie, pulsating white light. It isn't coming from the sky, but from the street itself. Standing in the middle of the road, directly under a flickering streetlight, is a figure. It is tall, impossibly tall, its head level with the second-story windows of the houses. It's so thin it looks like a trick of the light, a vertical line drawn in charcoal against the glowing pavement. It's one of them, from my dreams. Its limbs, long and multi-jointed, are folded in on themselves in a way that is both grotesque and strangely elegant. It stands perfectly still, its blank, featureless head tilted slightly as if listening. As if listening for me, my heart is a frantic bird beating against the cage of my ribs. I am screaming in my own mind, a silent, primal shriek of utter terror, but my body remains placid, my face a mask of calm. The thing on the street raises one of its impossibly long arms. The arm unfolds, joint by agonizing joint, reaching towards my house. It's not pointing, it's beckoning. Then, the impossible happens. The window in front of me begins to distort. The solid glass wavers and ripples, like a heat haze on a summer road. It doesn't shatter or crack, it dissolves. The glass melts away into nothing, leaving a gaping hole in the side of my house. The night air, cold and smelling of sterile electricity, rushes in. There is no barrier left between us. The figure steps forward. It doesn't walk. It glides, its feet never seeming to touch the ground. It moves through the space where my front lawn should be and into my living room, its colossal height forcing it to crouch, its limbs folding into a nightmarish parody of a human posture. It's here. It's inside my house. It stops a few feet away from me. I can see the smooth, pale skin like polished bone. I can see the two large, black, depthless voids where its eyes should be. They are not eyes. They are holes. Holes that lead to the empty, star-dusted blackness of my dreams. I'm looking into the abyss, and the abyss is wearing a skin suit in my living room. It reaches out again, its long, three-fingered hand unfurling. I see the same pattern as the bruises on my skin. It moves with a slow, deliberate grace that is utterly terrifying. I feel a cold, piercing pressure at the back of my neck, just below the skull. It's a touch, but it's not physical. It's a needle of ice being driven into my soul. And then the memories come. Not my memories, but memories that have been mine all along, buried, locked away. I'm a child. 6 years old. I'm in my bedroom, the one with the glow-in-the-dark stars on the ceiling. I'm not in my bed. I'm floating in the center of the room, held aloft by an unseen force. A tall, thin figure stands over me, its blank face inches from mine. It reaches out, and the same cold pressure pierces the back of my neck. I don't feel pain. I feel curiosity, a child's innocent wonder at this impossible visitor. I'm not scared. I'm chosen. The memory shifts. I'm 10. I'm in the woods behind my house. I'm lying on a bed of leaves, looking up through the canopy at the night sky. The hum is there, a lullaby. The triangular ship hangs silently above the trees, a dark omen against the stars. The white light descends, and I feel a sense of peace, of homecoming. The memory splinters into a dozen more. A flash of a cold, metallic table. The feeling of strange, intricate instruments sliding under my skin. The sight of other children, their faces blank and placid, lying on tables next to mine. We are not victims. We are specimens. The creature in front of me is not a monster. It is a researcher, a gardener. And this has been happening my whole life. The lost time, the bruises, the hum. It's not an invasion. It's a routine checkup. The cold pressure in my neck intensifies, and this time it's not a memory it unlocks. It's a message. Not words, not images. A pure, undiluted stream of information, of feeling, of knowledge, poured directly into the core of my being. I feel a sense of profound cosmic loneliness, an emptiness that spans eons. I see dying stars and crumbling galaxies. I feel a desperate, frantic search for something, for a key, for a component that is missing, for a way to stop the encroaching, inevitable silence of the universe. And I understand. They are not here to harm us. They are not here to conquer. They are harvesting. They are looking for something inside us, something in our DNA, in our consciousness, a spark of chaotic, unpredictable life that they have lost. They are trying to save themselves, and we are their spare parts. The pressure recedes. The flood of information ceases, leaving me reeling, gasping in the wreckage of my own mind. My body is my own again. I stumble back, collapsing against the wall, my legs refusing to hold me. The creature retracts its hand. Its blank face offers no comfort, no apology. It has what it came for. It turns and glides back out through the phantom window, its form unfolding to its full, terrifying height as it returns to the street. The window behind it shimmers, ripples, and solidifies, the glass knitting itself back together as if it were never gone. The figure in the street looks at my house one last time, a long, silent appraisal. Then it dissolves, its form breaking apart into a million points of light that are swallowed by the darkness. The pulsating white glow on the street fades. The hum dies. Silence rushes back in, a tidal wave that leaves me deafened. I'm alone. I'm alone in my living room, my body shaking, my mind a battlefield of newfound horrors. I look down at my hands. They don't feel like my own. I am no longer just Alex. I am a specimen, a resource, a data point in a cosmic experiment so vast and ancient it defies comprehension. And the terrifying part, the part that will haunt me until my dying day, is that I understand. I understand their desperate, lonely quest, and I don't know if I can even blame them. I don't know how long I lay there on the floor, a heap of trembling flesh and shattered reality. Eventually, the first tentative rays of dawn began to creep into the room, painting the scene in shades of gray. I heard movement upstairs. Maya. The thought of facing her, of trying to explain the unexplainable, filled me with a fresh wave of nausea. I crawled to my feet, my body aching as if I'd been in a car crash. I looked at the window. It was perfect, not a single crack or scratch. But on the floor beneath it, glinting in the morning light, was a tiny shard of something that looked like obsidian, impossibly thin and sharp. Evidence, proof. I picked it up, its edges cold and alien against my skin, and slipped it into my pocket. I went upstairs. Maya was sitting on the edge of the bed, her face pale, her eyes red-rimmed. She hadn't slept. Did it come back?" she whispered, her voice trembling. I couldn't tell her the truth that it had never really been gone. The truth that it was inside my head, that I was a part of it now, so I lied. "No," I said, my voice sounding hollow and distant even to my own ears. "It was just a bad dream." The lie hung in the air between us, a toxic, shimmering thing. She knew I was lying. I knew she knew. But it was a lie we both needed to pretend to believe, a fragile dam against an ocean of terror. Life, impossibly, goes on, but it is a pale imitation of what it once was. The world has lost its color, its vibrancy. Everything seems muted, a photograph left too long in the sun. The hum is back, but it's different now. It's a permanent part of my auditory landscape, a constant low-level thrum that I can no longer distinguish from the sound of my own blood rushing in my ears. It's a background track to my hollow existence. I no longer lose time. Instead, I feel a strange sense of detachment, as if I'm watching my life happen to someone else. I go through the motions. I work, I eat, I talk to Maya. But I am an actor playing a role, The real me locked away in some dark, silent corner of my own mind. The fear is gone, replaced by a cold, resigned emptiness. What is there to be afraid of when you've stared into the abyss and seen its shopping list? I touch the back of my neck constantly, my fingers tracing the small, perfectly round scar that wasn't there before. It feels like a port, a connection point. Sometimes, when the hum is particularly strong, I feel a phantom itch beneath it, a sense that something is stirring, that data is being uploaded or downloaded. I am a walking hard drive, a biological server. The true horror, however, came a week later. I was in the bathroom, staring at my own reflection in the mirror. I looked tired, haggard, but it was still me. Then I blinked, and for a split second, a single heart-stopping beat, the eyes staring back at me were not my own. They were black, utterly, completely black. Depthless voids of polished jet, reflecting the sterile bathroom light without a hint of warmth or life. They were the eyes of the visitor. I recoiled, splashing water on my face, my heart hammering. I looked again. My eyes were normal. Blue, bloodshot, terrified. It was a trick of the light, stress, lack of sleep. I repeated the mantra, the comfortable lies, but they offered no solace. I knew what I had seen. Later that evening, Maya and I were sitting on the couch, the television babbling ignored in the corner. The silence between us was a living entity. She suddenly started crying, quiet, desperate sobs that shook her whole body. I put my arm around her, the gesture feeling foreign and rehearsed. "I had a nightmare," she choked out, burying her face in my shoulder. It was so real, I held my breath. "What was it about?" She pulled back, her face a mess of tears and terror. "There was a thing," she whispered, her eyes wide with remembered horror. In our room, it was tall, so tall and thin, like a shadow made of bone. And its eyes. Oh God, Alex, it had no eyes. My blood turned to ice. She described it perfectly. Every impossible joint, every grotesque detail. She described the creature from my memories, the creature from my living room. She was having my dreams, or my memories. I looked at her, at the woman I loved, her face contorted in a terror that I had brought into her life. I wanted to comfort her, to tell her it would be okay, but the words wouldn't come. I looked into her tear-filled eyes, and for a fleeting, sickening moment, I didn't see my own reflection. I saw a starfield. I saw the vast, cold, and desperately empty cosmos. The connection wasn't just in my neck. It was in my gaze. It was in my presence. The harvest wasn't over. They had simply changed gardeners. I had become the doorway, and I had just let them in. The universe is far larger and stranger than we can imagine, and it is hungry. If you've ever felt that you're not alone, even in a locked room, share your story in the comments below. Subscribe for more tales from the terrifying dark. And whatever you do, don't look too closely into the eyes of the people you love. You might see what's looking back.